This is Mr. Wallace back with tutorial 3 for the GarageBand project, and this is editing our drum track and making it sound in time. So we've just put down about 13 bars of sequence drum track using the musical typing screen, and it sounds a little bit out, so what I'm going to do is show you how to edit it and sounding good. And so we'll get rid of the typing screen. Now what we want to go next is up here, click on the scissors, and you'll see the piano roll with the little MIDI blocks representing each part of our drum track. This little thing up here, we can see now, if you slide that along, it gives you a look at the whole thing from bars 1 to 13, and you can stretch it out when you want to zoom in and work on, say, one bar up close. So let's have a listen to it at the moment. We've got Herbie off. Let's just have a listen to our drum track, what we've got. Okay, there's a bit of a pattern there, starting on each bar. But in places it's a little bit out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you first the first little edit we can make, which is called quantizing. And this is going to straighten up every drum beat on the bass drum and snare drum to the nearest quarter note. Down here you'll notice you've got time quantize. At the moment it's on 1/16. If you come into here and go to 1/8 note, which is a quaver, you guys already know that, and click on that, you'll see every note straighten up. So we'll select the whole piece carefully, like that. That'll do. And let's select 8th note. Now watch those little highlighted drum parts. Oh, you see them move a little bit? So they've all straightened up. So what you've done now, you've quantized it and you've adjusted the timing, which is one of the parameters of a MIDI note. That's one of the things that we have to do. You can also go in and click on one note and slide it around and move it. This is handy later on when you have longer notes from the other instruments and you just want to move them around a little bit so they sound a bit more natural. So let's have a listen to our drum track now. Now you can hear that. Bang on what we want. Okay, so what happened there was I got it to about the end of bar 8 and then it stopped. I didn't highlight them all, but that's okay because in this window with the piano roll, there's a little square icon comes up when you hover over the end, and what I'm going to do is, and you notice it changing to up on the region on the main screen, I'm going to reduce it, my little pattern, so it's just bang on 8 bars long. And then what we can do, we can copy and paste this one, multiply it, and we've got a whole track of really good straight in time drum pattern. So that's quantizing. Now the other thing is down at the bottom here you'll see there's a little icon with 3, this is the parameters of the notes here. When we click on that, it brings up another little screen at the bottom with every note showing what velocity it is. Now note velocity is how loud that note sounds. Let's go back to the start of the piece again, and if I click on the first beat of the, it's a bit hard to get that one there, first bass note, there it is, you'll see here velocity is 98. That's the volume of that particular note. So this is another thing we can adjust, and if you note, if I slide it, if I click on that, let's try the second one, start the second bar, you can hear it. If I reduce the volume of that and click on it again, it's very quiet. So this is handy for clicking on and adjusting the volume of particular notes. What you might like to do, this is another parameter you've got to adjust, is velocity or the volume of each particular MIDI note. Click on each bass note, maybe the start of each one, the start of each bar, and just make that one a little bit louder. That again will give it a more natural effect with the first beat of the bar being a bit louder than the rest. So you can have a go with that as well. You'll see there's other things like transpose, that's changing key, but that doesn't matter too much with drums, but it will of course later on with the other instruments. Also, apart from velocity, we can adjust modulation, expression, and those other things, and pitch bend, but again, they come more into play with other notes of longer length with tones. You can also see there, once you bring up the parameters, that I've got another view of the velocity of each note, and what I can do is go along and choose a bunch of notes that I want to do, or do it this way, and highlight a bunch of notes, those snares for example, and then you can adjust the velocity of the whole lot. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. I need you to adjust the velocity on a couple of notes or some of the notes, and teach yourself how to adjust velocity. Okay, so for now, that is a good little editing tutorial, and now you've got, should have 8 bars to the end of bar 8 of good solid drum beat, which has been quantized and velocity adjusted. What you can do then is, up at the top, you can loop the 8 bars and make it 16, and loop it again, and we can go on and on. So that's the tutorial 3, editing the drums, and now we're ready to make a bass track. So I look forward to catching up with you next time on Watermelon Man. Make the bass track coming up.